It's been several days since I last recorded, so I don't even know where I am, but I suppose whatever. I suppose so, Kate says, smiling. Hold on, Darren says. Our collars might have been removed, but we are still in a dangerous territory here. What if we are attacked by some mages or monsters, or we're just after we have our little party? Who's going to defend us from our enemies if we're all plastered? There's no need to worry about that, Rose says as she approaches, holding a small pouch in her left hand. These leaves I have in my bag are a natural remedy for drunken stupor. You just need to chew on them for half a minute and all dizziness will be gone in a flash, without even having to worry about a hangover afterwards. Perfect, the dwarf says. Then there's no need for us to hold back. I'll go bring more bottles. Oh, is that dwarven ale? Flower says as she sees 5 bottles lying on the ground. I've always wanted to try dwarven ale. No ale for you, young lady, Hadrick says. Little kids should not be drinking alcoholic beverages of any kind. It's not good for you. But I'm not a little kid, Flower says. I'm 30 years old. But your body is still 5 or whatever, 8. So that doesn't work. You may be 30 years old, but your alcohol tolerance is that of a 9-year-old. Iluna says. You can barely even stand on your feet after drinking a glass of wine. Petal, you're not helping, Flower says, as the rest of us start to laugh. You're not helping at all. After the long overdue celebration was finally over, we each went to sleep in our respective tents, except for Hardrick and Darren, who took the first shift. For those few hours while we drank together, it felt hard to believe that we'd be risking our lives fighting ogres just one day prior. It almost felt like I was back at home, spending a night out in a tavern with some friends, far away from all the madness of this tournament. It was nice to have a night like this for a change. And who knows, maybe the worst is all behind us. Definitely not. And every night from now on will be like this as well. A man is allowed to dream, right? Nope. With these final thoughts, I mean, you're allowed to dream, but like your dream should not be that far away from reality. Then it just you get complacent with it. With these final thoughts, I put my head on the pillow and I awoke the next morning feeling completely refreshed. This time around, I got the lucky draw and didn't need to take any shifts, which was a nice change of pace from all the sleepless nights I've been having lately. So we didn't have since we didn't have a fixed time limit anymore, we all decided to sleep in today. So it was already 10 o'clock in the morning by the time I got out of my tent. Taking a look around the camp, it seems that everyone else has already gotten up for some time, and they were just about to finish their breakfast. He awakens at last, Darren says as he sees me get out of my tent. Did you enjoy your 10 hours of uninterrupted sleep, Barry? It's too bad you missed breakfast though. Flower really outdid herself this time too. Her food making skills are simply divine. But don't worry, I'm sure we can still scrounge up some cold leftovers for you to eat if you're really hungry. That's mighty generous of you. I see it didn't take you long to turn into an ass again. As tempting as that sounds, I think I'd rather go see if Flowers is still taking orders. Oh yeah, I'll do that. As tempting as that may sound, I think I'd rather go see if Flower is still taking orders. As it turns out, the girl was actually waiting for me to wake up in order to prepare my breakfast. After she conjures my food, oh right, she can just conjure it. She hands me the plate with an excited look on her face. Ta-da, she says, a traditional dish from my homeland. Koala eggs with ham and bagelberry cheese. Actually, this isn't really a traditional meal in the Western continent, I say. It's not, Flower says, disappointed. Oh, but I'm sure I read about this somewhere in a book detailing the Western culture. No, this isn't anything traditional, I say. It's a select meal eaten by only a handful of nobles in a few of the rich cities on our continent. It makes it even better, thanks a bunch. Well, I'm glad you like it, Flower says, smiling. I've still got a lot of magical energy left, so don't hesitate to ask for seconds if you want. After everyone's finished eating, we decided to hold a meeting and establish what our plans were, now that we were finally free of our collars. The 3 of us had already promised Rose that we'd escort her safely to her hometown, Darren says as he points towards me and Kate. So that's where we're headed right now, Hudrick says. Flower, you have no obligation to keep traveling with us, so we can part ways here if you want. Actually, traveling with this group has provided me with the most fun I've had in years, Hudrick says. The objective of the tournament still hasn't been announced, so I don't really have anything specific to do until then. If it's all the same to you, then I'd rather tag along. What about you? How about you, Flower? Kate says. Well, Flower says, looking a little hesitant. I wouldn't want to be a bother to anyone. What are you kidding me? Hudrick says. You can spit fire, jump on walls, make food out of nothing. Would be crazy enough to not want you in their group. Nobody here would ever turn you away after how much you have helped us, Flower. Rose says, and don't even for a second think that you could ever be a bother to us. The question here is what you want to do. Would you like to keep traveling with us? Flower says, beaming, I would love to. Neluna, Kate says, what does she feel about all this? All her eyes are fixed upon the girl as her own eyes turn blue, and Neluna starts looking around her nervously. I guess it wouldn't hurt us too much to accompany you for a little while longer, she says. It's settled then, Darren says. Pack your bags, we're leaving in half an hour. Now hold on there, Aruka says. Is nobody going to ask me how I feel about all this? What if I told you that I'm deeply unsatisfied with this group's abysmal kill per hour ratio, that I rather only consider continuing our collaboration if you promise to work on improving it, huh? What then? You all stare at Araka's amulet for a few seconds until Hardwick decides to break the silence. Alright then, he says, time for us to start dismantling our tent. Meet you all back here in 30 minutes. Hey, Araka says, as we all start heading towards our tent. Hey, don't you dare ignore me. Do you hear me? Come back here. I'm not done complaining yet. It took me a while, but after I got done with my tent and my backpack, I headed back towards our meeting spot, where everyone except Kate seemed to have already arrived. As I got closer, I saw that Flower was currently spinning Araka's amulet by the chain with a displeased expression on her face. This chain is starting to get old, she says. We'll have to get a new one the next time we're in a city. That's great, Araka shouts. Now, if you've done testing the chain's durability, maybe you could stop with the spinning? Alright, sorry, Flower says. She grabs the amulet, puts it back into her neck. I forgot you had motion sickness. Wait, seriously? Hadrick says with a laugh. The almighty invincible banshee can handle a little spinning? It's because she's trapped in the amulet, Elena says. It's messing with her senses. She didn't have any problem like this when she was possessing animal bodies. Oh good, Kate's here. Dunn says as she sees Kate approaching us. I guess we should be good to go then. Where are we headed exactly? Hadrick says. The city of Thelius, Rose says. A small harbor town near the southern coast. It's lovely this time of the year. Okay, I'm here, Kate says. She joins the rest. Let's get going. Wait, Flower says, I've just remembered something. The plates. I forgot to wash the plates. Who cares about the plates, Darren says. Can't you just conjure new ones out of nowhere like you do with the food? Yeah, but it would be a waste to just leave them here, Flower says. They sell for a pretty good price on the market. This wouldn't take long, I promise. I'll just pick them up and quickly wash them in the river. I'll be right back. Well, that's convenient. You can just conjure plates and just sell them. That's dope. In the river, I'll be right back. You know, I've always wondered about something, Hadrick tells Darren as Flower rushes past him. If they call you guys white mages, then wouldn't necromancers be called black mages, you know, to keep the theme going? Actually, that's a common misconception, Darren says. This has nothing to do with the warrior of the light fighting the forces of darkness. The only reason why white mages are called like that is because of the bright light that appears when they cast most of their spells. It's not really an official name, but I guess it's kind of stuck. Some white mages with a stick up their arse sometimes even get offended when they're called like that, and they Darren stopped talking because a familiar figure had just appeared out of thin air in front of him, guessing he's Aiden, a boy with his eyes closed and his hands in his pocket and a polite smile on his face. Greetings, friends, Aiden says. I come bearing news. Great. Good job, Aiden, Darren says with a frown. Now, Aiden says, there's no need to be so hostile. I only came to help. Wait, how did you find us? I ask him. By tracing your auras, of course. Aiden says, I just finished my business on the other side of the island. I thought I'd pop by for a visit. I hope he does not say the dragon is coming. How could you possibly have identified us just by our auras from that far away? I say. Our auras are much more complex than you may think, Barry. Eden says most people only use them to learn of a person's magical prowess, maybe to understand their basic emotional state. But a person's aura is capable of showing us much more than that. With enough practice, you will see that a person's aura is unique, and it can be used to track them down with great distance. If your magical sense is sharp enough, mine happens to cover the whole island of Varathia. You mean to say that you can find out any person's whereabouts at any given time? I say. Yes, but like I said, auras can be used for many other things, Aiden says. For example, if you study a person's aura fluctuation carefully enough, you can tell if they're lying or not. Besides that, you can also find... Oh, wait. How is he going to react to fucking... Araka being here, Araka, whatever her name was. Yes, but like I said, yeah, for example, if you study a person's aura fluctuation carefully, you can tell if they're lying or not. Besides that, you can also find out their age, their race, their mental state. If you tamper with a person's aura enough, you can even stop them from aging. Wow, that is interesting. Speaking of auras, Barry, I happen to see your aura is very close, your aura in very close proximity to Lasheti a few days ago. Did you remember to give them my message? Crap, he's talking about the two Lassetti that were with Diane. His stupid message was the last thing on my mind at the time. How am I supposed to tell him that now? Well, he can tell if I'm lying or not. I'm sorry, I was barely even able to talk at that point. I'd just been electrocuted. Yeah, I'll go with that. That is a true one. I'm sorry, I was barely even able to talk at that point. I'd just been electrocuted. That is true, Eren says. I can tell even from afar that you're barely able to hold on to your senses at the time. Yes, exactly, I say. That's why I couldn't. However, Darren interrupts me. If delivering my message had been your first priority, you would have surely been able to find the resources necessary to fulfill your task. Wait, listen, I say. We can find other Lessethi. We can deliver the message. Barry, Eren says. I'm starting to get the impression that you're not taking me very seriously. What are you talking about, I say. Of course I'm taking you seriously. This will not do it, and says. How am I supposed to get my point across if you're not taking me seriously? Listen, I say. I get why you may be thinking this, but trust me when I say that. I know, Aiden says with a smile. All of a sudden, I should kill one of your friends. That would make you take me more seriously. What do you just say? I ask him. All of a sudden, I hear Rose starting to gasp out of air loudly. Rose, Darren says, what's happening? Rose tries to say something, but she couldn't manage to get enough air in her lungs to articulate her words properly. You shouldn't force yourself to speak, Rose, Aiden says. After all, the airways on your lungs are currently slowly closing themselves in. You should focus on all your efforts into breathing as much air as possible. You bastard, Darren shouts as he pulls out his sword. It's pointless. Why are you doing that every single time? I'm going to kill. Before he gets to finish his sentence, Darren falls to the ground, completely paralyzed, and the same thing happens to everyone else except me, Rose, me and Rose immediately after. I think I should stop and think before speaking. I think at this point I should think. Just hold a second, just close my eyes and think. I literally would do that if I was in that situation. Your friends couldn't help you this time, Barry. Eden said to me, what are you going to do? The feeling of panic overwhelmed me. I don't know why I read that in a low voice. Feeling of panic overwhelms me all of a sudden. This can't be happening. This can't be happening. We're finally rid of the callers. We were rid of them. Everything was going to be okay. Why did you have to come back? Why? Time is running out, Barry. Eden says, your friend is at the end of a rope. How are you going to stop me? How am I going to stop him? I still have no idea how he powered up my stat device for the dragon. I don't even know if he has weakness. Does he even have a weakness? Are there any words that can get me out of this like last time? Yeah, this is what he should be doing. He is thinking. Last time that what could make him let her go? What would convince her to let her slide? What am I supposed to do? All of a sudden, there's a loud noise of plate shattering to our right. Rose finally managed to take a deep breath. As both Aiden and I turned to identify the source of the sound. Flower was just standing there with an expression of pure shock on her face and with a dozen shattered plates lying at her feet. Well, if it isn't Illuna of the Sacred Woods Massacre, Aiden says, smiling. It's been 20 years, I believe. How have you been? Yeah, Flower's expression quickly turns into one of pure rage. As her eyes turn bright red, her aura starts to fluctuate violently. You, she points as she shouts at Aiden, I'll kill you, I'll kill you. I think she is angry at Aiden because of, Araka did the whole still winter thing and Aiden was part of that. You killed, what? Wait, what is happening? Oh, I looked down, I suppose. She then jumps towards Aiden and starts throwing a floor. Wait, what happened? Wait, hold on. I just blanked out. How was I fucking silent? How long was I silent for? She then jumps towards Aiden and starts throwing a flurry of fireballs at him as Stillwater casually dodges each one of them without even using any magic. Flower then shoots a beam of fire that engulfs Aiden completely, but it simply passes him by, leaving him unharmed. You killed them, Flower says. You killed them all. Bring them back. Do you hear me? Bring them back. She then conjures a dragon made entirely out of fire that flies towards Aiden and starts to attack him with its claw. Flower also joins the battle up close and she tries to punch the Stillwater with a flaming fist. Illuna, Aiden says as he parries the girl's strike with one hand and the dragon with the other. You think you can put a stop to this? I'm starting to lose my patience here. For a second, the girl's eyes turn bright blue and I can clearly see the fear in them. The next moment, Flower stopped moving. She looked as if she was being held against her will by an invisible force. Let me go, Petal, girl says as tears starts to form in her eyes while she struggles to break free. Let me go, I have to kill him, I have to. After trying in vain to free herself for a few more seconds, Flower then turns towards us. It's him, she tells us. Don't you see? He's the one who destroyed the city of Olmnar. I mean, I guessed as much. That was not even... What the hell? What was the author thinking? Was this supposed to be a big reveal or something? I mean, wasn't it kind of obvious at this point that's who he was? Chapter 11. You're the Stillwater who obliterated the entire city of Olmnar with a one flick of his finger, I ask Aiden. I am indeed, Aiden asks. But didn't that happen like 20 years ago? I say, just how old are you exactly? He pauses for a bit to think. To be honest, I sort of lost track a few hundred years ago, he says. The calendars have changed at least 5 times since I was born.